play Dungeon Crawl Stones. And right after I start the stream, of course, I have to fiddle with the settings. Okay. All right, we are back. We are going to return to Jorenstein III. Pretty strong for this point in the game. Not outrageously so, but we're solid. I would like to have had spellcasting more online than it is, but it's hard to do. I mean, the only way that I can think that we would have been able to do that is if we hadn't bothered with invocations, maybe, but that seems iffy. So, so today we're going to have a double stream. Right now, I'm going to stream for about an hour, and then around 3 hours from now, I will stream again for hopefully 2 to 3 hours. So, should be a good time. Right. Gosh, I understand why gargoyles have a negative aptitude for air magic, but I still wish that they didn't. I like air magic a lot. But we're doing translocations because we found the Akashic record. It would help if I spelled it correctly. I'm sorry, I have to send a text real quick. Gosh, I really should have stopped the stream. Sorry, I've just gotten distracted. Okay. Alright. Sorry. Been at work all day, and sometimes communicating is tricky afterwards. I don't have to put everything in legalese. Okay, right, so yes, we were searching for translocations, and it looks like we could just buy a book of either cantrips or party tricks. I'm not sure what exactly is in party tricks. It would make it worth spending the extra money. Nothing. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be memorizing apportation regardless, and, you know, it's not the craziest of spells. It does what you need it to do, which is, grab stuff. Okay, alright. Yeah, okay, so I mean, 300 gold is not a huge deal in the long run, but no reason to spend it if you don't have to. Okay. So let's go pick that up before we do anything else. Alright. Anything else? I probably should have dropped something first. Is there anything we don't care about? Meh. Kind of like everything in our inventory. That's a good sign. Let's just drop off these royal jellies. We can always come back and get them later. I don't care if they're eaten or anything. We'll save it as a snack for when we're ascending with our 15 runes in the Orb of Zop. We'll save that. I'm doing this because I really want to start training translocations. I'd love to get Singularity online as soon as possible. I'm sure that it fits the flavor that. Let's see, we want to switch these two. Put that there. And that there. Okay. I know they're taking it out in a future patch, I'm sure. It doesn't really fit the flavor. That's absolutely correct. But while it's still in the game, I'm going to abuse it like crazy because it's super great. We don't technically have to bring this book back to our stash because I don't think we're going to memorize anything else out of it. But, I'd rather have a bit of food lying around randomly than have a book lying around. Okay, goes there. Looks like most of this video may be inventory maintenance, but it's fine. Well, not most of it. Hopefully I won't spend half an hour doing this. Gosh. Okay, so scrolls we don't need right now. I guess it was pretty late when I stopped streaming the other day. Or, no, that's right, I had guests coming over. Yeah, I missed streaming yesterday. I was hoping to stream every day this week. That would have been really cool, but... What can you do? Anybody may still just be recording for... Oh, we do have a couple viewers. Well, hey, Dr. X. How's it going? Well, I hope. Do I want to recharge this wand of teleportation? We have 7 scrolls of teleportation right now. The benefit of the wand is that we can teleport other things away, but we don't have any points in evocation, so they would be able to resist potentially. I think it's okay if we drop that wand off for now. And then later on, once we have Once we have excess scrolls of recharging, if we haven't, found another wand of teleportation, which is actually pretty likely, they're fairly common, relatively common of the wands. And let's see, drop off some gloves here. The strength plus 6 is definitely cool, and we may switch to those once we get our spells really online, because we won't be relying as much on the crossbow at that point. Even then, it might still be better than strength plus 6, but I'm not entirely certain about that. If we find an evening star, it scales well enough with strength that the extra plus 6 would be very nice as far as damage goes. But I don't think we need them right now. I think our dearth of ranged damage aside from the crossbow, I guess the blowgun, that kind of counts. That makes the gloves of archery better for now. I don't know why I was carrying the shield of resistance in case we needed resistances for some reason. And just throw that on. Not sure how long it takes to switch over. Let's find out. 10 turns. Okay. So, not something we really want to do in the middle of combat. Hey, Arcade. Good to see you. And a good evening to you. Ooh, okay, so here's an actual interesting question. Do we want our Morningstar of Freezing or our Whip of Flaming? Probably the Morningstar of Freezing. So -2, 13, +1, 11. So it's 17 versus 14 on the combined damage there. Plus the Frost Brand is going to do additional damage with higher base damage, since the brands scale off of the base damage of the weapon. Pretty sure. We are not at minimum delay yet with our mace. We attack every between 0.8 and 0.9. Okay. Yeah. We'll get down to 0.7 eventually, which is good. It's very solid. I don't recall for certain, but I believe that the Evening Star is basically exactly the same as Morning Star, except it has 1 higher base damage. I could be wrong about that, but that sticks in my mind. Or maybe it's 1 higher base damage and 1 higher base accuracy. They're good. I like them, but they're also fairly rare, so we're not waiting to find one or anything to train maces and flails. Like that's one option, is to just train spellcasting at first. I'm doing well. I'm a little cold and a little damp because we're getting our first rainy fall day, late fall, early winter, or autumn, as I'm sure the rest of the world calls it. And it's just because I'm completely lacking in body fat. I get cold very, very easily. So even though it's probably, it's not very cold outside. It's about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, so like 15 or 20 in Celsius. Whichever one of those is, you can go out in a light coat and be okay if you have an umbrella. Anyway, I've had to walk around in the rain a bit today, and I will again in half an hour or so. When I go to pick up food, I'm going to spend time with my lady friend for a little while before she goes into work, her other job. So what do we have here that we want to get rid of? We can probably, well, gosh, the blowgun has really great utility. I think what we can do is we can get rid of the poisoned needles. I can't imagine that, especially since we're not training throwing any further, I can't imagine that poison needles are going to be so excellent a source of damage that we really are going to use them that frequently. Our crossbow is just going to be a lot more efficient, especially since we have bolts of venom. Yes, 15 poison points. Yeah, so we're totally fine there. I do want to keep the blowgun and the Curare needles because that's a very unique effect. It's extremely powerful. The fact that we have 10 of those needles means that if we do need to use them against a very high-level monster, our lack of throwing ability will be made up for by the quantity of ammunition. Okay, what else do we have? We can drop off this potion of restore abilities. I mean, we're missing the point of intelligence. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, we have plus 15 in all of our stats. Not counting... Actually, we don't... Oh, yeah, plus 4 range strength. So we do have one item that benefits our abilities. But mostly it's just Che Burritos letting us be a boss. I really do want to keep carrying this shield. I feel like we were actually going to hit level 15 in shields fairly quickly anyway. We have a good aptitude for it. We're gaining experience rapidly because we're able to progress rapidly. I mean, I think on Wednesday we cleared a branch and got a rune in an hour and a half or something. Well, it won't go quite that fast today, just because I don't want to get too deep into things before I have to pop out for a little while. But I do want to do some stuff, so you guys didn't tune in fruitlessly. I like our wands. Fruit we don't actually need just yet. Let's put random food down here. I mean, we may find more fruit, but it's less common than meat and bread rations. Ditching meat or bread rations from your inventory is kind of useless because you're just going to find more. So unless you don't want to pick them up and keep them in one place, which is kind of a pain, I recommend keeping them in your inventory. Yes. Oh, yeah, we were debating whether or not to ditch the Whip of Flaming. I think that that's the correct choice. Let's just wield the whip and swing it around a few times. It is a 0.5 minimum delay right now. I mean, it's as low as it goes. How low can it go? Which is really nice, being able to guarantee get 2 attacks off in the time that it takes a normal speed monster to move 1 tile or make 1 attack is certainly good. But I think the 4 extra damage is worth it. It's actually more than 4 because it scales better with our higher stat, so it's probably something like 5.5, I will say. Conservatively, it might be as much as 7 or 8. The difference between the two. Not wanting to do a ton of math in my head. So, yes, we'll go ahead and drop the whip and wield the Morningstar. Morningstar has the added bonus of being resisted by fewer things at this point, I think. Fewer cold-resistant enemies than fire-resistant enemies. That switches later on, sort of. Anything else we want to get rid of? We don't have a ton of inventory space, but I really need to have... We have to have all of our consumable resources available to us. We can't afford to just ditch those right now. Later on, we can, like, drop off potions of... Actually, potions of intellect. We really don't need those right now. We won't need them until we start casting spells. So, we may find more of those because... Or potions of brilliance. The others, I think I like quite a bit. Yeah. Okie dokie. We have 2, I think, cure mutation potions. Oh, no, those are potions of mutation. That was the other game that we had cure. We haven't found cure mute yet, I don't believe. Yeah. No, that's fine. Okie dokie. Okay, so we have a few options. We can do the shoals. We could do orc. I'm a little more inclined to do orc, just because that's going to guarantee us some, at least one piece of equipment. I don't think I've ever done orc and not found at least one useful thing there, and it might give us quite a bit. Just because the shoals is kind of, it's a little troublesome for Chabriados followers because there's so much open space. It's very difficult. There are virtually no choke points in the shoals. And so if you get caught in a compromising position, you can't bunch enemies up, you can't... ooh, bees. I like fighting bees. Oh, okay. If they're going berserk, let's just go ahead and slouch them away. Blat. And sort of clean up the rest of them. I mean, they probably can't hurt us on themselves. Berserk bees might be able to do some work. Berserk anything is always worth respecting, for sure. It's just a very powerful effect. Anything we need to do here? I think that's resistant to cold right now. Okay, so 30 seconds after I finish talking about how things aren't normally resistant to cold at this point, of course we encounter something resistant to cold. Whatever. Want to just shoot it down with our crossbow then, if we can. Okay, good. Bathed in the mutagenic energy of its brethren and changed. Changed for the darker. Or the firier. Something like that. Bonk. Really, we shouldn't be walking towards things ever at all, but I'm not all that concerned. We just waltzed through. Ooh, Nergal. Now that is something we need to respect. I think we want to try and curare her rapidly. Excellent. That's nice. And we want to shoot her a couple times with the crossbow. That may take care of her. Oh, okay. Cool. Wasn't certain about that. I don't think they can actually hurt us, so we can just walk towards them. We don't have to use the piety from the Chabriados' ability to warp them next to us. I mean, we have 37 armor class. I've had wins with lower armor class than that. I guess that's not saying too much because there are a lot of spellcasters and stabbers that don't have very high armor class, but I've had... Yes, 2 questions. These are these. Okay. I guess we can chop this. Oh, and I guess we do have deflect missiles. Or reflect missiles. Deflect is much better. I wish we had deflect missiles, but we would have to put some training into either. Let's see. Okay, good. No, but I kind of wanted to experiment with that there to see if. Oh, the last run. With that demon spawn, I made some bad decisions in the swamps as far as pathing and exploring too far out from the staircase and just fighting badly, not using the right resource. I played very poorly, and we barely survived. We survived, we got out of the swamps, we blew through just about every single consumable resource that we had, and we started to rest, and 2 turns later, Dithmenos threw a bunch of shadow creatures on us and we died. It was kind of a fitting end to the character, honestly. Just sort of a haphazard run where you abandon a god and the god kills you for it. It's very flavorful. I like it. Speaking of flavor, that is why the devs are removing Singularity, because a massive, possibly more powerful than Firestorm AoE position shifting spell doesn't really fit the utility feel of translocations. I mean, you shouldn't be able to do what we are going to do this game, because it's still in the game, and I'll be darned if I'm not going to use it. Which is train translocations and only translocations and have just this massive game-breaking spell available to you. It just doesn't fit the flavor of the school. And the other reason, which I suppose there's an argument for it as well, is that it doesn't fit the flavor of the game to be able to cast a spell and run away and have it just do all the work for you. Well, you'll see, because we're going to abuse it. We will absolutely break this game with it. Perhaps in runs after this, I won't use it, since we know they're going to be taking it out. But while it's in the game, I'm doing it. I believe that if it's in the game, it's fair game. Now, you can always do runs where you say, you know, I'm not going to use XYZ, and that's totally legitimate. Don't ever let me stop you from making the game more challenging. I'm just saying, I will never judge anyone who exploits some aspect of the game. I will not be impressed if you win with wizard mode on. I mean, that's... I won't stop you from doing it, but I will not be impressed if you, you know, literally cheat to to win the game. But, you know, that's still fine by me. It's like, this game is hard. It's totally legitimate to want to go through and, gosh, seems like a weird situation to be in. All of these summoned creatures, I guess things just keep stepping on that shadow trap. Because we do have a choke point here, let's do this. Not a lot of these creatures are at the same species, and so they won't pass each other. The only time that things move past each other is if they are the same creature, basically, or the same. Like, orcs will. Oh, right, I see they have forms. Orcs will move past orcs, whites past whites, yaks past yaks, etc. But that white will. Oh gosh, that is a very big slime. Enormous slime. Ugh. Enormous might be a little difficult for us, actually. We have a very high armor class, but I guess we can't really kite it all that well, can we? Alright, well, it turned out okay, even though that was probably the worst play we could have made. If we were going to want to fight it, we should have done it in this doorway. Although, you know, I get feeling, and I have no evidence to back this up, other than just sort of the gut feeling, that slimes are less likely to blob apart into smaller slimes if they're in a hallway than if you're in an open room. I feel like my reasoning is that there are more open tiles around it, and maybe it's a % chance per tile. I mean, if it's even just one splitting off, if it can't split into a tile where there, you know, if it can't split into a wall tile, it's going to. Yeah, I feel like fighting the giant slimes, if you have to do it, you should do it more or less in the open. If anyone knows differently, please let me know, because it's just a gut instinct, and I don't want to be spreading misinformation. I was once accused of doing that when on Facebook I told someone I'd take a guess at some newspaper thing that they had read, the legality or something. Like, not actual legal advice by any means. Ooh, there's a potion of cure mutation in here. But just like a thought experiment, and I said, oh, well, this is my best guess, and someone else said, yes, this person is spreading misinformation. You should watch out for people like that. I was like, okay. But take the stick out of that place from which the sun cannot be seen. Gosh, so we can buy some potions here. We only have one potion of invisibility. Perhaps it's good to get another one. I kind of want to save my gold, though. I mean, we do have all of these, / we don't need them right now. I mean, we don't have any bad mutations, so we don't need cure mutation. Do we have any? Yeah, that's right. We do have a mutation, and it's awesome. Our robustness that we got from our potion of beneficial mutation, which has definitely helped us this run. I don't know if it's additive or multiplicative, however. So gargoyles are naturally at minus 20% hit points. I think the mutation is multiplicative with it, or rather the minus 20% total hit points is applied before and separately from the plus 10% hit points. So we're at something like 88%, I guess, of a normal person's hit points. The plus 10% is not doing us as much good as could also be. No, I don't know. It's something like that. I highly doubt that because we have plus 10% hit points, we are at 90% of normal. I'm sure there's a way to check that, actually. Okay. This is a good testing point. See how we do against this elf. It was fine. Alright. We don't really care about an embroidered robe, no matter how pretty it may be. Took an extra step accidentally there. I got the soldier ant confused with the door. Book of Air. We already have a Book of Air. One of magic darts. We can just drop that right away. Because those are really bad. We don't ever want to pick up another one. We can actually Wands of Flame. I don't really want Wands of Lightning. Magic Dart. And Wand of Slowing. Yeah. Oh, because they do split more often. Yeah, that's the flip side of the coin. I guess if it's already a Titanic slime, if it's already the slime that will kill you in, one hit, then it's better to draw them out. If they're in pieces, it's better to fight them in the hallway. Okay. They're a really complex monster. I like them a lot. Urg, the Orcish Ballista. He lost his eye in a fight with Harpy and has sworn to slay every last one of them. Unfortunately, the vision in his remaining eye is not very good, and he has mistaken you for one. Also, he smells terrible. Okay. Weird. Well, we shall fight Uruk. Possibly better to try and close with him, but I feel like spending a few turns shooting crossbow bolts at him is better than taking a step forward and finding out that it was just the wrong choice. That's 2 turns anyway. And it turned out that it was fine. Ah, I bet the entrance to the Orcish mines are around here. As we can see by the copious orcs. Ooh, ouch, yikes. What's going on here? I think we do need to step back. We just got a little trigger happy there. Yeah, orcs, I mean, they don't seem that bad, but in great numbers, they are a pain. Good. Javelin's actually doing quite a bit of damage. If we can take out an orc warrior like that, we're pretty happy. The pole arms are much more annoying for Chabritos followers than for most races, because you can't, if they don't want you to, you cannot hit them. You take a step forward, in that step forward they take a step back and they hit you. So you can't ever close with them. I mean, you can always bend time, but that costs piety. And I mean, with Chabritos, I'm very conservative with my piety, just because sometimes you may need to use your ultimate twice. You may need to step from time and then come back and then go a little ways and then step from time again. And that takes a lot. I just like to be able to use all of our god abilities multiple times if need be. That's, I mean, that's what those are there for. They're to balance out the fact that you can't run away normally. Okay. It's nice that we found a staircase, an initial staircase that we can stair dance with. The room is clear above and has no other staircases in it, so while it's possible for a mob to wander in there, it's unlikely. Ruined chainmail. What are we wearing? Also ruined chainmail? We have like a lot of identification scrolls, but we also have a nice room to try it on. Let's see, just a +4 chainmail. I do want magic resistance. There are several nasty spells in the Orcish Mines that could affect us. Not really from the wizards as much as the sorcerers later on. Like sorcerers, they can be pretty nasty. Oh, speaking of, where exactly what is in their spellbook? Let's take a look at one before we kill it. Bolt of Fire, Summon Demon, Animate Dead, Bolt of Rain. Yeah, Paralyze. That's what it is. Yeah, Paralyze is gross. We're pretty solid against the rest of it. I guess we don't have a source of fire resistance, so that could kind of hurt. But we have warding and resist negative energy. Where's resist cold coming from? Oh, yes, this awesome crossbow that we're holding at the moment. Cool. Awesome high damage crossbow. That's only with 10 in crossbows just to get it to minimum delay. Very impressed. Unlike the regular dungeon, you don't want to necessarily explore each staircase right when you come to it, because you could pop up into, in this case we would, pop up into a room full of orcs. It's not as safe. Morningstar Pain, that's not as good as what we're using. We are no necromancer. Maybe one of these days I'll do a Death Knight. I mean, that background doesn't exist anymore, sadly, but the theory being just a bruiser with a high necromancy skill that uses lots of skeletons to... Actually, it doesn't even have to be a bruiser, but like any kind of weapon with pain on it. And then a bunch of skeletons. And not really worrying about casting other spells. Like worshipping a Redelum Newell or getting just necromancy and no other spells goes up. Any number of different ways to do it. Probably shouldn't have stepped down there. Should have just stayed on the staircase. But, I'm not really worried about Orc 1 through 3. Orc 4 is always worthy of your respect, especially if you happen to spawn Saint Roka. That can that can really ruin your day if you just run into Saint Roka and have all of the zealots lay you low. I think what we'll do here, since I do have a slight an oppressive heat about you. We have several sources of fire resistance, I think. Yeah, we have a ring and we have that shield. I think it's worthwhile to read a scroll of magic mapping and get to this volcano, wherever it may be. Oh gosh. Alright, so we do need to go upstairs and back down one of the others. That's unfortunate. I guess not too terrible. It's not all that different from, yeah, walking over there. Yes, excellent. Okay, so we want to do a few things here. We want to, fortunately we don't, like we used to, we don't have to drop all of our scrolls, because there's no item destruction anymore. Hooray. Good. Ooh, scrolls of brand weapon. I didn't even notice we had those. Probably won't need scrolls. I am going to drop a few of our scrolls, just because we won't be needing them, but... okay... Alright. We're going to wear this, and put on the ring of protection from fire, instead of our ring of sea invisibility, I think. If we bump into something invisible, we can always put it back on. And freeing up inventory space so that we don't have to pick and choose between cool things that we find in there. Oh, we can drop several food things. Definitely want to keep the others just because. No reason to risk dying to something stupid. Oh, we can identify this potion. Potion of experience? Let's drink that right away. Wow. You can go whole games without finding a potion of experience. Finding one this early is awesome. Oh, I forgot to start training translocations, but that's okay because we will just put this whole thing in. Well, actually, let's see. What would it do shields? Get it a little bit closer, like one level closer. Or get the first 4.5 levels in translocations. I mean, the faster I get shields trained, the sooner I can just turn it off forever, whereas translocations would want to keep leveling forever. Yeah, let's just put it in the shields. Ooh, and we leveled up. Cool. Alright. I think at this point we can turn off spell casting and turn on translocations. Well, but spell casting is so good. What if we do this? And that's not much different from this. Sure. Alright. We're spreading it pretty thin, but it's all long term. We don't need any of these to increase right now, except for maybe shield, so we can turn it off and get a better spread. Okay. I think we can also drop the blowgun and all of the needles. All one of it. And javelins. Okay. Now we have plenty of inventory space, and we're going to duck inside. I may have time to do this. I'm going to leave in about 10 minutes. But I will be back later. I will be back in about 2.5 hours. We have several scrolls of magic mapping, so I do want to read it. Okay. Interesting. I guess it's just a room with a lake of fire. A lake of fire. Do we have double fire resistance? Yes. Okay. So, we should be okay against all of these things. Flying permanently is awesome. I'm not even going to explore up there because I don't care as much about the experience as getting out of here guaranteed. Alternate Vehement, that's cool. Neat little gargoyle Vehement cult. We can pick up the chainmail fire resistance. It's not too exciting, but you know. Oh, and we do have the Mace of Cold. Okay, so that's pretty sweet. Robe of Fire Resistance was less exciting. Okay, well, alright. So maybe this Chainmail of Fire Resistance will be good. Not too much aside from that. I guess there could be items up there. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Didn't explode much. Alright. Okay, well that was not the most exciting volcano, but, you know. We maybe got some interesting chainmail. +1 chainmail of fire resistance. Okay. That's not entirely worthless. I think we want our +3 chainmail of magic resistance for now, but everything up, and cool. Alright, I think that's where I will stop for now. I will be back, as I said, in approximately 2 hours and 20 minutes. Give or take 10 minutes. So, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.